bonus? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, that would be a no.
Okay, never before. Let's ask Diane. Diane, have you ever been fired from a job and then all of a sudden be given like a bonus?
I can say I have.
You have?
I have.
Was it a nice bonus?
In this day and age and in this economy, $500 is quite a bit.
When did you receive that?
Yesterday.
Wait a minute, you're talking about the job as the director of the Belmont County Dog Shelter?
That's correct. I was given my final paycheck
I thought
yesterday.
you got fired.
I did.
And you got a bonus?
I did. I did my job so well, they don't need me anymore.
So once again, 2 plus 2 doesn't seem to be equaling up to 4 here. Very, very interesting. Do you think that's shush money?
You know, Steve, it's funny you say that because every time I tell somebody about this, that's the exact words they use. Exact words.
Well, what's your thoughts, Diane? I mean, is it hush money or, what's going on here? Let's go ahead and I'll conduct the interview and, blah, blah, blah. We'll get a little formal about it.
Okay.
So you're now unemployed.
I am.
Tell us how it all went down.
Basically, Monday, I get a telephone call. I was literally pulling into my driveway about 5:30 and got a telephone call
After being at work?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, after being at work all day. And get a telephone call from the board president on a cell phone. Diane, can you come back to the shelter? I'm like, Ben, I hate to say this, but I just got home. I've got to pick my daughter Mackenzie up from her softball practice at 7. I'm like, I'm a little crunched for time in there. What do you need?
And let's use last names. Ben
Podolsky.
Okay.
And he was like, well, it's really imperative that we speak to you. And I said, who's we? Well, the board. And I said, so I'm coming in to speak to the board? Well, a few of us. I said, okay, well, what's this about? Well, we need to speak to you. I said, well, Ben, I'm not going to be able to get out there till like 7:30. I'm like, I'm 30 minutes away. I've got to pick Mac up. I said, let me see if I can get my mom or somebody to, run and grab her. I don't know if I can do that or not. So I jokingly said, well, if you're firing me, go ahead and do it over the phone. Don't waste my time on coming all the way back out there.
What was his reaction to that?
Well, actually, we are.
He said that on the phone?
On the phone.
And what was your reaction?
I kind of chuckled because I thought I was making a joke. And his reaction was, and I said, why? Well, here's the phone. Here, Mary Lee, take the phone. And Mary Lee is Mary Lee Porter. Mary Lee Porter is the secretary of the B. Carl board.
Okay.
So Mary Lee gets on the phone, and she said, look, Diane, you just need to get out here, collect your things. We just need you out here. And I said, well, Mary Lee, I said, I hate to say this, but I'm not going to be able to get out there till a little bit later. I said, can you wait? Can you wait? She says, absolutely. She starts conversing with Ben, and so it's decided that Mary Lee will be the only one there whenever I get there. So anyway, I hurried up, rearranged everything, got somebody to pick Mackenzie up. And my husband and I picked my husband up on the way because he was like, you're not going into this by yourself. I'll collect your things while you're discussing stuff with the board.
Good for him.
And I'm like, Dave, it's really not necessary. He goes, oh, no. I'll go. So David and I drove out, and the whole way out, we're going, what the heck? Like, what could possibly? So we get there, all the lights are turned off, and there's Mary Lee sitting in the dark. And I consider Mary Lee just a wonderful lady. I just think she's great. And so I walk in, and I'm like, Mary Lee, what is going on? I'm like, why am I getting fired? She goes, well, Diane, I've been out of town, so I really don't know what's going on. That's what I was told. So I said, you have to give me a reason. She goes, actually, we don't. And I'm like, even if, legally you don't have to give me a reason, you have to give me a reason, just morally. For everything that I've done to the animals of Belmont County, you at least need to give me why. It was complete silence.
To this day, at this moment, do you know the reasons why your employment was terminated?
I do not. I have some ideas. I have some really good ideas. But at this point in time, they're hearsay why I think I got canned.
Were you ever issued a warning?
Never.
No warning whatsoever, whether it was verbal, written, anything.
Never. The only thing that was said to me on Friday, I had a meeting with Angela Hatfield, who is the VP, and Ken Soulyard, who is a board member. And they pulled me into the office because there was a sexual harassment complaint about 2 employees, and they needed to find out what was going on.
Were you one of those 2 employees?
No. Oh, God, no.
Okay. Well, I got to ask that.
You do. Yeah. No. No, it was reported to me, and it was reported to the board.
Okay.
Of course, the reporting to the board would trump any supervisory recommendations I could ever make. So it was reported to the board.
Okay. But you, the shelter director, was never issued a formal or verbal warning from the Belmont County Animal Rescue League Board.
Nope.
And to this day, to this moment, you've still not been given a reason for that termination.
No, I have not.
I understand from Commissioner Matt Coughlin that complaints were down and adoptions were up.
Adoptions were up. In the 4 months that I was there, over 100 animals were adopted, Steve.
And how does that statistic stack up against the 4 previous months?
About triple.
About triple.
About triple.
So that also means euthanizations have been down.
Euthanizations are something that the previous staff performed weekly. Gosh, Steve, I can't even remember the last time we had to euthanize a dog this past week, which was not part of the euthanasia committee. It wasn't a decision that was brought before the euthanasia committee. The dog warden, assistant dog warden, decided to take it upon herself to euthanize a dog that was ill. So, but I can't even tell you the last time that we had a euthanasia committee that we had to put down a dog that, wasn't severely ill, wasn't, something along those lines. When a dog becomes severely ill, you don't have a choice. You have to do that.
Did any member of the B. Carl board communicate to you in any way that they were unhappy with you for communicating with any of the Belmont County commissioners as frequently as you were?
Yes. Yes. It was said to me by the vice president of the board, it's probably not a good idea for you to be as friendly as what you are with the county. My comment was, are you telling me not to talk to the county? Well, I'm not saying that, was her retort. And I, of course, said, but you are. And she kind of chuckled a little bit. And so you tell me if that was what was said.
How long ago did that individual say that to you?
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
Did you have any conversations on Friday or your last day at work with any of the Belmont County commissioners?
I did on Monday.
Now, when you say you think you know reasons for your termination, would that be one of them?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And on Monday, when you talked to the Belmont County commissioner, which commissioner?
It was Matt.
It was Matt Coughlin. Speaking with Matt, did it pertain to the warning that you allegedly were given about talking to the county?
No. Matt now knows about the warning. He didn't know about it whenever we were conversing on Monday. On Sunday at 9:56 a.m., Matt Coughlin and the B. Carl email received an email from someone complaining about the horses that are in B. Carl's care. So I know that Matt got the email. Plain as day, it was sent to Matt.
And that is a note of concern concerning 2 horses?
Actually, no, it's quite a few.
Okay.
It's 7.
And where are these horses?
I don't know. I don't know right now. I don't know. This is what happened. We got a complaint on Sunday. When we got the complaint on Sunday, I showed the complaint to Ben Podolsky, the president of the board. Now, this complaint is humane all day long. The humane officer needed to go out on this.
Gotcha.
I could tell by what was needing to be investigated that it was a conflict of interest. The assistant dog warden and the humane officer, they don't exactly work hand in hand with one another. And it's been a note of contention in the office. I've had to counsel one of the employees to stop bullying and other things, the other employee. It has been probably one of my biggest headaches about this job. And, there's a lot of things that go on in the workplace that shouldn't go on, and that's one of them. But this came in. The assistant dog warden is in possession of these horses. I was sent pictures. I've been asking to see the horses and have never been permitted to see them or anything. That's actually how I got involved with the Humane Society, with the Belmont County Animal Rescue League, was through horse rescue. So this is something near and dear to my heart. Well, when Ben Podolsky read the email, looked at the pictures, he, of course, isn't a horse person. He has no idea, how bad this looks. I pointed out several things to him. Look at the wormy belly. Look at their manes and their tails are completely burred up.
The hooves.
The hooves are huge.
Yeah.
One of the horses have a crack from the bottom of the hoof clear up to the coronary gland.
Oh.
Steve, you have no idea. It's like if you would take your
I know
fingernail.
what it's like. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
It's horribly painful for the animal.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's about a 1,000-pound animal that's having dent on this cracked hoof. So I showed it to Ben, and I said, look, this is a humane complaint. I need to give this to Mandy. Under no certain circumstances do you discuss this with anyone. I said, well, how about if I forward it on to the board? You guys can discuss it. Please tell me what to do. So that's what I did. All of the emails that I had, I didn't have the 2 newest board members' emails. So they were, of course, left out of the loop. But everybody else I had, and I forwarded the email along with the pictures to everybody on the board that I did have. So Ben told me, under no certain circumstances are you to discuss this with anyone. We'll handle this. I said, okay. I said, how about if we revisit this in the morning, because Mandy will be in and I need to hand her humane complaints. This is a humane complaint. We'll talk again in the morning, but don't do anything. So Monday morning came. Mandy comes in, and I called Ben and was told again, don't do anything. I'll get back to you by the end of the day. You are not to do anything. So that didn't sit well with me. Number one, your B. Carl is not in control of a county position. That is a county position. That is a county job. He has no right to interfere with a humane complaint. That he has no right. So I sat on it. So then when I ran into Matt up at the courthouse, we discussed it. And he was told that a county employee was not allowed to do her job.
Do you think that led to your termination?
I do.
Let me ask you this, Diane. Do you believe that there's a lot of people out there calling you a liar?
No.
Anybody on the B. Carl board?
The B. Carl board is not talking to me, so I wouldn't know.
Very good. We'll take a break and we'll come back. Diane Amend is here, the former director of the Belmont County Dog Shelter, relieved of her duties on Monday by the Belmont County Animal Rescue League Board. Not officially given a reason for her termination, but I think you just heard the story behind that reason. We'll be back in a moment. I'm Steve Novotney here on the Watchdog Network, AM 1600 WKKX, AM 1370 WVOI. 71 degrees here in downtown Wheeling, 69 up at the Highlands. I always give the Highlands temperature because it's always a couple of degrees cooler. Now down in Glendale at 70 degrees. Welcome back to the program. Of course, I'm Steve Novotney here with Diane Amend. And if I'm mispronouncing your name, go ahead and tell me because I think I am again.
It's Amend.
Amend, thank you.
That's okay.
Such a dork.
Everybody does it, Steve.
But your husband doesn't deserve that, neither does his parents, and neither do you. So I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
Say it again?
Amend.
Amend. I got it. I'll never mess it up again. Yeah, well.
It's good.
Okay, so no warnings. All of a sudden, a humane complaint comes in. Am I permitted to say in which area that humane complaint came in?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it's from the Lafferty area.
It is.
And you received it. Belmont County Commissioner Matt Coughlin received it, and some other folks received it on Sunday.
Correct.
Okay. So you contact the president, the board president, say, hey, we got a humane complaint, and he tells you to sit on it.
Right.
Okay. Then the next day, the humane officer comes in, you're sitting on it, it's driving you nuts, but again, he tells you to sit on it.
Right.
So he tells you not to inform a county employee whose job it is to investigate these kind of complaints. He tells you not to forward that complaint to a county employee.
Correct.
Okay. And then, by chance, you're up at the Belmont County Courthouse and you run into Commissioner Matt Coughlin, who truly does work each and every day.
He does.
He's full-time, ladies and gentlemen. And he asks you. He instigates the conversation. And I know that to be true because that's what Matt told me.
It is. It is. And I was up at the courthouse because a few weeks before this, I was given the key to our mailbox and told that I need to start processing all of the paperwork that comes through the county.
Okay.
So I was up at the courthouse to do a little bit of training with one of the assistants up there, Barb. So that's why I was at the courthouse. I was actually up there doing B. Carl business, learning how to process the paperwork.
Gotcha.
So
And
that's why I was there.
And that's very, very, very important now since the water line break.
It absolutely is.
All recovered from that, by the way?
All recovered. We everything is completely put back together. The county commissioners have been, it's just been one thing after another, but it's back together. It's painted. It's spit shined. You really ought to go out and see it and walk a dog.
And I may do that here in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
And I'll tell you why. Now, as far as the horses are concerned,
Yeah.
You've mentioned 7 horses,
Yes,
and they are in B. Carl's possession.
they are.
How long have those 7 horses been in B. Carl's possession?
Let's see. Lisa Williamson picked them up about 2 years ago.
Picked them up 2 years ago.
That's correct.
Okay, and why was the pickup conducted in the first place?
There were allegations of abuse. She had a humane complaint. At that point in time, she was the humane officer. She may have been the assistant dog warden back then as well. She's carried a couple different hats within B. Carl. She's the humane officer, plus she's been assistant dog warden. Now, my understanding of the complaint is that some of the horses were out of the fence, some of them were in the fence. Lisa actually had to go in and cut the fence and get the rest of the horses loaded on and she took them and she contacted somebody about putting the horses in a field. They've basically been left in the same field for the past 2 years. Now, when she took the horses...
Is somebody feeding the horses?
Lisa feeds them. She feeds them hay.
That's it.
I've never seen a receipt for any grain other than Mandy's horses. So, yeah, she feeds them hay. Not very good quality hay, I might add, but she does feed them hay.
When Lisa went to this property, did she do so, in your opinion, legally?
No.
Did she take, I'm using your words, take the horses legally?
No.
Do we know the owner of those horses?
Yes, we do.
Has that individual ever filed a complaint about all of a sudden his horse has gone missing?
Yes, there actually is a lawsuit right now, and there's a pretrial hearing at the end of this month about them.
Okay. So this humane complaint that comes in on Sunday involves the same horses?
Yes, all but one, because one of them was rehomed.
Okay. So the horses that B. Carl, according to you, the horses that Lisa took in the name of B. Carl 2 years ago, somebody else has complained about their care.
Correct.
And you were told to sit on that information.
Correct.
Let's get back to the issue of you communicating with the Belmont County Commissioners. From what I understand, the additional communication has been a welcomed change by the collective Belmont County Commission. Have they communicated that to you?
Matt and Mark have.
Okay. Not a lot of interaction with Commissioner Jenny Favin at this point?
She's not real friendly with the animal shelter. I cannot say that she is, a real friendly advocate for the animals at this point. I've never heard, she just doesn't correspond very much.
Okay. Now, let me give you my impressions, if I may.
Yes.
Okay. It seems to me there seems to be several different sides to this issue. There are people who support B. Carl,
Right.
the Belmont County Animal Rescue League.
Right.
There are people who support, the changes that were taking place and things like that. And there seems also to be a faction of people that have made this personal.
Yes, that is true.
So you have the same impressions?
Absolutely.
What part of that entire equation, whether it's these supporters, or these haters, I mean, does anybody make this about the animals like it should be?
No, not at all.
No one.
No one. No. B. Carl is worried about still being in control of the shelter, but not being able to run it properly. The haters do nothing but complain 24/7. And Steve, let me clarify something. There were people back in the fall that they had to do this. They absolutely positively were warranted with their complaints. I'm going to just throw a name in there. Her name is Cindy Yanez. She was a board member.
I've met Cindy. Cindy's been on the program.
Yes, okay. Cindy had to do what she did. She absolutely, there were dogs being euthanized that should have never, ever, ever been euthanized. But unfortunately, she was shut down by this same board. And I commend Cindy for a lot of the things that she did. But unfortunately, Cindy takes it personal. And she attacks people that, I could have been a huge advocate of Cindy's. Unfortunately, she decided to attack because I was making the Belmont County Animal Rescue League a better place. So she decided to go on the attack instead of going with me and helping. And I would have welcomed her help. I mean, from what I understand, she's a huge animal advocate.
Huge.
And
She truly is.
She truly is. But when you make it personal and you make it your personal vendetta against people, I've met the woman once in a midnight meeting. And then within a week, she was attacking me, attacking my family. Unfortunately, and I wholeheartedly understand Cindy's passion, but don't take it personal. It's hurting the adoptions. It's hurting the volunteers. It's hurting the animals that she wanted to protect in the first place.
When you spoke with Matt Coughlin concerning the humane complaint involving the horses near Lafferty, did Commissioner Coughlin communicate to you, that something has to be done about these horses?
Yes.
And are you confident that something will be done with these horses?
I'm not, because the Belmont County Animal Rescue League hid the horses.
They hid them.
Hid them.
And you don't even know where they are.
On Monday, the assistant dog warden disappeared from the shelter. There were several complaints of pit bulls running loose, and she didn't answer any of my text messages dispatching her to those areas. She was unavailable on Monday. Then I, of course, got an anonymous message that the horses were gone from that field. And not only that, it was on the internet that the same person that sent us the email, that our vice president emailed him and told him that the horses were relocated.
Belmont County Commissioner Mark Thomas tells me that in the 8 years and 5 months that he held office, you have by far communicated more so with him in the 4 months that you had this job than during his 8 years and 5 months in office.
Isn't that sad?
I don't understand how it was permitted to take place that way in the first place.
I agree.
Let's talk about some other issues. What about this internal audit and the possible hiring of a CPA firm for the future?
There was a new CPA firm hired.
Okay. The internal audit, did the director get to see it?
There's never been an internal audit, Steve. And I was told after I wanted the internal audit that it wasn't possible due to the amount of cash that flows through the Belmont County Animal Shelter.
Okay, Diane, I'm going to try it now. Diane, say it again.
Amend.
Diane Amend, the former director of the Belmont County Dog Shelter, is here. Diane, tell me, is there something no one is telling the public here? I mean, is there something B. Carl's not telling us? Something that the Ohio SPCA's not telling us? Something you're not telling us? Is there something the public is not being told?
I'm probably, I've been battling for the past couple of days. I put you off a day before I came on here so that I can kind of collect my thoughts. On Monday, when I met with Barb at the commission, she was nice enough to provide me the contract, which is public knowledge. I could have easily gone and gotten it anyways. But one of the things that really bothered me was that, and this is mind-boggling, funding for the Belmont County Animal Rescue League and for the Dog and Kennel Fund. I'm just going to read it to you from the contract. All monies received for adoptions of dogs shall be divided equally between B. Carl and the Dog and Kennel Fund. B. Carl shall deposit quarterly to the Dog and Kennel Fund the allocation of adoption fees due to the Dog and Kennel Fund for that period. Now, Steve, what'd you get out of that?
That they're going to collect it and then give it back.
Right. How much?
All of it.
Half.
Half.
All monies received for adoptions of dogs shall be divided equally between B. Carl and the Dog and Kennel Fund.
So what'd you receive in the 4 months?
Okay. They don't get anything if it's anything other than a dog.
Right.
If it's a cat, if it's a horse, if it's a bunny, anything of that nature, they don't get anything. But if it's a dog, we updated what our adoption fees were. That was one of the very first things that I did. It's $125 to adopt a dog. Okay. Out of that $125, I was paying the county of Belmont $5.
Why?
That's what I was told to do.
It's what you were told to do.
That's what I was told to do.
By whom?
Let's see.
And was the county aware of this?
They are now.
Yes, they are now.
They are now after my meeting because I said, whoa, wait a minute here. I'm unsure of something because when I do the paperwork, the selling fee, she says, right, it's half of whatever the adoption fee is. I said, the selling fee that we give you is $5.
And what was Barbara's reaction?
I knew we weren't getting all that money.
Okay. Where is it going?
Belmont County Animal Rescue League's checking account.
Okay. Is there something else that the public does not know? Because I know there's a lot the public has no idea about. And I know right now you're contemplating whether or not to tell the public at this point. I can tell by the look on your face.
One of the other things that they are not aware of is that the Belmont County Animal Rescue League is not licensed to have any type of controlled substance in the place whatsoever.
And what controlled substances are in the shelter?
Schedule 2, Schedule 3, euthanasia solution. When I came into the animal shelter, as you know, there was the big old water break.
Yep.
I came in on a Monday. On Tuesday, it was surgery day. Kind of walked around a little bit, kind of my head in the clouds. On the third day, the water break hit. My husband happens to be a Wheeling Hospital employee, so he knows what's legal and what is not in the way of where drugs are supposed to be housed. His comment to me, because of course when the water break hit, the first person I called was my husband and my dad. And I asked for them to hurry it up and get there because I basically was like, oh my God, what do I do? And my husband walked into the place and practically drug me out of the place and said, you have to quit and you have to quit immediately. This place is a DEA drug bust waiting to happen. It's waiting to happen.
How would the Belmont County Animal Rescue League had gotten, registered or licensed to have those controlled substances on premise?
They would have had to go to the Board of Pharmacy, the Ohio State Board of Pharmacy, and fill out an application. They would have had to have a veterinarian sign off on it, and it would have gotten processed. There's also an inspection that has to happen, and everything would have been fine with the way everything is set up right now.
Yeah. One last question, and then we got to go. What if a change was made concerning the control of the Belmont County dog shelter? What if the county commissioners decided, yeah, you know what, we're going to go ahead and put that where it belongs, put it under the sheriff's office? Good thing, bad thing?
It would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Dave Lucas is, from my understanding, an amazing supervisor, an amazing man. That's where it needs to go. Number one, you would have the legal aid that you need. When you're executing a warrant, they're not going to be messed up.
You're going to file a lawsuit, Diane?
I don't know the answer to that yet, Steve. My fear is that it would take away from the animals, and I really don't want to do that.
Enjoy your bonus check, my dear.
I will.
Thank you, Diane. Appreciate it very, very much. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from the former director of the Belmont County Dog and Kennel Shelter. We'll take the break. We'll send you to the WTRF headlines. We'll return with the market report only here on the Watchdog Network, AM 1600 WKKX, AM 1370 WBOY.